Hey everybody, today I'm going to be doing a review of Amplitube 4. This is going to be a little bit more of a review of the new features in Amplitube 4 versus the entirety of the Amplitube program. I will do another video soon on Amplitube a little bit more in depth, but for today I just want to show you the new stuff in version 4. Some of my favorite things that have been added, real quick here, let me show you. In the Stomp Box section, they have added it so that you can come in here and add some of the rack gear parts from the Amplitube suite. You have the ability to use a few select pieces of rack gear that is normally only reserved for the end of the chain, and you can come in here and edit it like you would anything else, but be able to put it before the amplifiers and before the cabinets. They've added a host of new different amplifiers, mostly that are all based off of Marshalls, and I'll go through and show you the tones on some of those. One of my favorite things that they've done is a complete new UI for choosing cabinets and rooms. You have the ability to go through different cabinet selections, full control over the microphone placement and which microphones you were using. You have the ability on the 12-inch speakers to come in and change per speaker so that you can have different speakers in the cabinet with microphones on them. And you also have the ability to choose which room, and the rooms actually have their own very unique sounds, and they do play pretty well, and I really enjoy the tone of a lot of them. And then you have detailed controls here to control the level of each microphone, the panning, the level of the rooms, as well as the width of the room microphones, which all of these things you can also grab and move in real time in the UI, and then blend controls for all of them, and then the overall levels. You also have the rack section where you can use a few select pedals, the same way that we use the racks in the pedal section. You can load them up, click edit, and edit them just like anything else. So overall, they've added some pretty cool new features here to Amplitube 4. Some of the things I've noticed while using it, it seems that the input level is a little less sensitive than it used to be, and you have to push that a little bit harder while also coming down a little bit more on the master, which actually I think gives it a little bit better tone, so I've been pretty pleased with that change. Another thing that they have added is a new tuner section. You have your original tuner here, and then they also have this ultra tuner, which is a little bit more accurate and can get you a little bit more dialed in. It's also a little bit more sensitive, so if you don't like the jumpy nature of digital tuners, you may not care for this tuner as it can be a little bit jumpy, but you still have the ability to go back and use the original tuner as well, both which are really versatile and flexible and have the ability to change tuning if you want to play in 432, for example, or any other alternate tuning you can do here, as well as having the full chromatic ability of whatever regular 440 pitch you want to get. So for this review, you're going to hear mostly high gain presets and high gain choices, since that's kind of the majority of what Amplitube 4 is really geared towards. It really does the Marshall and heavy rock and metal tones very well. First one we're going to check out here is a valve preamp. These are amplifiers that usually people would have and they'd pair with their own power amplifier, and you saw them very prevalent in the 90s and early 2000s. A lot of alternative and metalcore type bands use these that I remember. So let's check out the tone on this one. For me, that particular amplifier seems a little bit flatter than I like. It has plenty of gain, but it's got that a little bit of paperiness to it that I've never really cared for in the valve pre's. The next we're going to look at is the model of the Brit 8000, and these are kind of a model of the JCM type series that you see Marshall running pretty often. They sound very similar to what a dual or triple super lead is going to sound like. And I was pretty pleased with the tone. They had a lot of low end grit, they had a lot of power to them. And also, as with all of these samples, I didn't do any post work. This is all only Amplitube processing that you're hearing. So here's the Brit 8000. I really like the sound of these models for the high gain and heavy crunch kind of stuff. So that's one I would use pretty regularly. The next one up that I was checking out was the 9000 series, which is a very similar tone to the 8000. You just have a few more controls. You got a little bit different control over the gain and the sensitivity. It has a pretty similar sound, so let's check this one out. So like I was saying, those Brit series models have some really good crunch to them. I would use them in any rock or heavy metal type situation. The next one up we're going to take a look at is the Red Pig. This is one coming in that I didn't think I cared for too much. It's got a very like classic rock, AC/DC, Aerosmith kind of vibe to it that I'm normally not a huge fan of. But in this particular instance, I actually think it came out really well. Let me play you the sample and see what you think of it. So the last one we have to check out is the Brit Silver. This is one, once again, coming in. I tried it a few times earlier before and didn't really care for it, but I think it actually came out one of my favorites as I was playing this riff and doing this review. For those of us, working primarily in areas where you can't be loud all the time, having this type of modeling and this type of flexibility is really useful so that you can try out different tones. And also as we go through making songs and records, there are lots of different areas that need different sounds, and some things that even aren't super amazing on their own might sound great in the mix. So let's check out this Brit Silver and hear how this one sounds. So that covers all the new models that they added in Amplitube 4. Like I was saying, for high gain, crunch, even some clean stuff if you dial it in right, can sound really killer on these models, and I use them pretty regularly for my recording. I use them for band practice, and I even am going to be using them for live shows. Amplitube is very versatile, it's very easy to get a good tone, and it really helps you be able to make your rig very portable. This isn't an in-depth tutorial on Amplitube itself. I will be making one soon where I go through each module and show you kind of the ins and outs of how this program works and everything you can do with it. If there's any other particular models you'd like to see reviewed or anything else you'd like to see a review of, let me know in the comment section below. Take it easy.